What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. So it feels like I've spoken ad nauseum on this channel about how to increase your website traffic, get more people to see your website, whether it be through SEO, Google My Business, or some other means. Because if you have this beautiful website but no one's finding it, then it's not really doing you any good. But lately I've heard a new concern pop up from therapists. I have several visitors to my website, but no one is booking with me from there. Now that is incredibly frustrating to be able to see that maybe hundreds or potentially thousands of people are visiting your website every single month and no one's booking with you. I mean, it's so easy to start to go down a downward spiral and take it personally and think there's something wrong with you or nobody's interested in your specialty or whatever it might be. But I don't believe that that's true. And also the fact that you already have folks stopping by your website means that you've gotten over the hardest hurdle, which is just getting folks to see that you exist. So I do believe that with a few relatively simple tweaks, you can get folks who are visiting your website to start booking with you, and I'm going to share some of those tips in today's video. And if we haven't met yet, welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang. I'm a licensed psychologist working in private practice part-time and making these videos part-time, teaching you the tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice. And I will say the primary means by which I fill my private practice is through my website. I love SEO. I talk about it all the time on this channel in my courses. It's because of SEO that I get thousands of visitors on my practice website every single month. And yes, folks who book with me who are a great fit for my practice. So I'm going to share some tools to help you make sure that once folks show up on your website, the right ones do go ahead and reach out so that they can book with you. Now, first of all, if you're not so sure about how to find out how many folks are visiting your website, there are a lot of ways you can go about doing this. The easiest is probably to log in through your website builder, whether you're on Squarespace or really any of them. They all have tools you can access just to see who's showing up on your website and usually some kind of demographic information about them. So after doing all of that, if you check your traffic and it's looking pretty meager, let's say less than 100 visitors per month, then it might be a good idea to kind of boost your strategies to help traffic come to your website, whether it be through SEO or ads or other means. I have videos talking about some of those tools already, so I've linked to those below, but this video is for those of you who check your traffic and find that you have hundreds or maybe even thousands of people visiting your website every single month, but those people just don't seem to be booking with you. Now, as is the case with almost anything I talk about in my videos, there's no way I can fully cover all aspects of this topic in a relatively brief video. There are so many things you can do to address what's going on. It's a conversion problem where you are having folks show up on your website, but they're not converting into clients. But for today, I'm going to focus on 3 tips that you can implement relatively easily on your website so that for the folks who are already showing up on your website, the ones who are just such a good fit to work with you will reach out to you and will express interest in booking with you. The first tip is to see if your website passes the 5-second rule. Now, I'm not talking about when you drop some food on the floor and decide whether it's okay to pick it up and eat it again, though if you have kids, we're talking about something totally different here. The question is, can folks arrive at your website and within 5 seconds know exactly what you're about? Now, I know that sounds ridiculous to figure out what you're all about within 5 seconds, but we know from the research that's out there that if somebody arrives on a web page and they can't quite sort out what it's about, within 5 seconds, they are Xing out of that page. So an easy way to figure out if your website passes the 5-second rule is to find 3 friends, any friends, they don't have to be therapists, send them a link to your website and just say, hey, within 5 seconds, can you tell what my website is about? Or you can frame it like, after looking at this page for 5 seconds, tell me what you think my website is about. Ideally, you might be able to find folks who haven't seen your website before and maybe aren't particularly familiar with what you focus on in your practice, so that you really are getting an unbiased perspective of what somebody experiences when they first show up on your website. Now, it's possible that the folks you have check out your website know exactly what you're about within 5 seconds, but I'm imagining that for at least some of you watching this video, you're gonna have people either say, I'm not super sure, or it might sound like, I can tell that you're a therapist, but I'm not totally sure what you do. Or it might be like, it looks like you're about this, but in actuality, you're kind of about something different. So if some of those discrepancies are true for you, then I encourage you to find ways to encapsulate what you're about in that section of your website that happens above the fold. That just means when you go to somebody's homepage, it's the first thing that you see without having to scroll down, whether it's on your desktop or on your phone or some other device. Whatever's happening right above the fold, we want to make sure it captures exactly what you're about in just a snapshot. And if you're not so sure what you are about, then this is a good place to start, because in order to market any successful practice, you do really need to have a very clear sense of what you're about. So if you're struggling with that particular item and therefore you're not sure how to encapsulate what you're about within 5 seconds on your website, then I really encourage you to work on some branding related things. I have lots of resources about branding, so I've linked to those in the description below as well. Once you make sure that someone can tell exactly what you're about within 5 seconds of being on your website, the next step is to take potential clients on a journey through your website. So a mistake a lot of folks make, even if you get step number 1 right, folks know what you're about when they first show up, is they go from here's what I'm about, here's what I specialize in, into okay, go ahead and book with me. And we're skipping a whole lot of steps, because somebody might arrive on your website and say, oh, Marie is about exactly what I'm looking for help with. Ooh, but therapy, I don't know, my last therapist wasn't so great, or I don't even really know if therapy is right for me, or I don't know if my problem is the kind of problem Marie can help with, whatever concern. And then if all you see after that is book with me, click here to book with me, or click here to contact me, I might not do it, because I still might not know yet if you really can help me, if I'm in a position where it makes sense for me to reach out to you. Now you might be hearing me say that and thinking, that sounds nice, Marie, but look, what do you mean take clients on a journey and build trust with them? Well, one tool that you can utilize to kind of help do this in a relatively simple way is to just think about the types of clients that you work with, particularly your ideal clients, and consider what sort of hangups they tend to hit before they're willing to say yes to seeing a therapist. So you can imagine some of the clients you've worked with before, you have spoken with over the phone, who are interested, and think about what sorts of questions that they might ask. You know, some of it might be general that apply to almost anyone, like, hey, is therapy really right for me? But it might also be tailored to your specific niche. So try to think through this and make a complete list of all the potential hangups somebody might hit a snag on between arriving at your website, seeing that you do something that sounds similar to what they're needing help with, but before they click the contact me button, and create opportunities for them to learn about how you navigate those snags. Some of it might just be building trust. Like, I see that, I get it, I've done this before. Some of it might be like very practical FAQ questions that can come up, and sprinkle those answers throughout your website in different places. Some of it might be appropriate right on your homepage. Some of it might be related to a specific specialty, so it can go on a specialties page. And the third tip is to have a clear call to action. A call to action is just any invitation to somebody on your site to do anything, whether it's, hey, check out this blog post, or, follow up with this or that. Often a call to action on our website looks like contact me, or click here to schedule a free consultation, or something like that. A lot of folks have a call to action that's not particularly specific, or it's not even really clear what the call to action is. So for example, some folks might have, say, a contact me link on their navigation bar, but there may not really be anywhere else on their website that suggests that you're supposed to go click the contact me button if you're interested in learning more. Something as simple as saying, hey, if you're interested in learning more about my services, contact me and book a 15-minute phone conversation to see if we might be a good fit to work together and to answer any questions you might have. The call to action does not need to be elaborate or lengthy, but there does need to be some sort of clear invitation, and it's helpful to be at least a little bit more specific than just saying, hey, if you're interested in booking with me, contact me. Give a little window into what's gonna happen next when someone contacts you. And those are my 3 tips for this video. Now, I am gonna add a bonus tip in for today because I think it is so incredibly powerful, and that's blogging. Now, I know I've talked about blogging before, and I'm also aware that blogging can feel like a pretty significant time and energy investment, so I'm leaving it as a bonus tip. You don't have to do blogging in order to have a successful, effective website that brings in not only traffic, but also clients who want to book with you. But I will say, if you have the bandwidth for blogging, not only can it bring more traffic to your website because you have more SEO opportunities, but for those folks who found your website for whatever reason, will build so much more trust with you because of your blog posts. Most of the time, almost universally, when somebody reaches out to me, a potential client contacts me, they say, oh, I read your blog post on fill in the blank, or I read all of your blog posts and I feel pretty ready to book with you. I feel confident that you're gonna help me. So it's kind of like a winner-winner chicken dinner situation where everyone wins, but it is a bit of work. So that's why it's a bonus tip, but feel free to throw that one in there if you'd like some extra help. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. As sometimes complicated as it can seem to fill your practice through your website, fortunately, managing your practice does not have to be complicated at all with a tool like TherapyNotes, which covers all of your practice management needs, from scheduling to notes to billing. They have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform and so many other tools, all built into one resource. If you'd like to check out TherapyNotes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, regardless of what state you're in of website development, how much you leverage your website to fill your practice, I hope you found this video helpful. I always find it helpful too to just kind of revisit my website every few months or so, just to kind of make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing and seeing if there's anything else I could do to kind of help streamline or make it better. So I encourage you to check out your website and see what's going on with it too, if you needed that reminder. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.